So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of E. Spencer Keck's Hillbilly Think Tank. So, here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, had a great day traveling between Louisville and here and traveling around. Got some new hit pullets. They're going to become egg laying hens to add to our current flock of egg laying hens and roosters. And, these egg layers provide good source of protein for us, makes for some healthy breakfasts and other, times that we use eggs for cooking. But come to find out today, American exceptionalism has one more time gotten egg in its face. What do I mean by that? Well, we found out that of all the talk of illegal orders being given, possibly being given by our current administration, that Secretary Kegg's breath decided to go on ahead and go full Monty deep on into illegal orders. When we have been blowing these motorboats out of the water, claiming that they have drugs in them, never going, mind you, to board them first to make sure that they do. That's a big thing I keep harping on, the fact that we don't even have actual proof, verifiable proof to show to the world that we're in the righteous cause of what we're doing. We're just blowing boats out of the water, making claims that they are carrying drugs headed towards America. And again, that's impossible for an outboard motor, which these have on them, to power a boat all the way from Venezuela to Florida, or Venezuela to Texas, or Venezuela to Alabama, Mississippi. Can't make it to any of those ports without stopping 4 to 5 times at least. That's just how outboard motors work. So, plenty of places we can apprehend these boats, make them stop, board them, search them, and if we find contraband on them, seize them along with the crew and take the crew to court, take them to jail, prove to the whole wide world that's watching that we are engaging in righteous action. But when you're just going to blow boats out of the water without any proof, you're giving people the ability to say, hey, you are killing civilians. And you're losing the support you need, because there have been many wars that start small and they end up becoming engagements with many nations in the world fighting each other because one nation attacked another nation's allies. And Venezuela does have allies. So if it gets to the point where Venezuela's allies, Russia, China, and other South American countries, Brazil, Colombia, if they all decide to get together and fight the big old USA, because our president said we're going to be sending people into Venezuela soon, or at least engaging in strikes on the land of Venezuela, whether that's from our ships sending missiles into the land. Regardless, once we start doing that soon, Venezuela is going to call in favors from its allies. And if we then need to call favors on our allies, how many allies do we have anymore? We know that Britain is not sharing any more of their secret information, their spy information with us. We're not sharing intelligence with each other anymore because Britain doesn't trust us. That was our major ally for hundreds of years now. Ever since after the War of 1812, we haven't had a beef with them where we fire shots at each other. Instead, we come to each other's aids. We aided them in World War I. We aided them in World War II. We stood by while they did what they wanted to do in the Falkland Islands, right? But now they're not with us. We have turned Germany against us, France against us, and here we are going to need allies eventually. But now we find out today that when we blew one of those boats out of the water, and there were people that survived the boat being blown up, the commander ordered a killing of those survivors, not a rescue. That goes against maritime law. It goes against the Geneva Convention. And if anyone ever did this to us, we would expect our sailors to be rescued after they blew up one of our boats. If there are any survivors, we would expect a law-abiding nation that goes by the Geneva Convention, goes by all other laws of honor and decency. We would expect them not to kill our sailors in the water, but to rescue them. We didn't do that. That was, according to the Geneva Convention, unlawful. So those were unlawful orders. We have just now decided that we're going in that place that we cannot abide. This is not tenable. This is not making us great. This is bringing down our noted exceptionalism in the world. World War II, whenever we hit U-boats, when there were survivors, we rescued them. Did we make them prisoners of war? Darn tootin' we did, but we didn't execute them. We didn't strafe them in the water. That's what the Japanese did. And part of their war crimes, when we tried them for war crimes, we tried them for the fact that whenever our pilots went down in the water or our ships were hit by the Japanese, they would always kill everyone. They would strafe the survivors, kill them. And we tried them for that in the war crimes, in the tribunals after the war. My grandfather was one of the prosecuting attorneys, the Judge Advocate General Court. This is not anything we want to have on our history. But here we go. We're doing it. So we knew this was coming when Kegsbreath called all the generals to one meeting and told them we were now going to start hazing again. And we were going to start, basically, he laid it out. We weren't going to abide by the Geneva Convention anymore. Our rules of engagement were going to be brutal instead of following the Geneva Convention, is what he was laying out for us. And here we go. It's being done. This can't abide. This is not making us exceptional like we have been forever. At least as long as I was in the military. And up till now, we've been the exception to the rule when it comes to our standards of rules of engagement. We know that when the My Lai massacre happened, that turned the tide of opinion of Americans and the world against us, because one officer said he was following orders, and he told all of his officers and enlisted to slaughter civilians in the village of My Lai. That My Lai massacre is still a pox on our reputation. But we did send Cali to court-martial for that. So, will that happen now? Will Kegsbreath be court-martialed? Will the commander that followed his order to not leave any civilians alive, not leave any survivors alive. Oh, we know that he'll probably be pardoned by the commander in chief, but the world's not going to do that. And that is not good for the alliances that we need to keep alive, but that we are trashing willfully, thinking that we can go any war that we come across next, that we can go it alone as a Lone Ranger, John Wayne, right on the prairie. That won't work in reality. Every war that we've engaged in since World War I, and even further back, we wouldn't be a nation independent of Britain if it wasn't for the fact that we had allies in France that came to bail us out, helped us win our Revolutionary War. If we hadn't been an ally in World War I, and if we had not been an ally in World War II, the coalition of Britain and the United States, France, we would not have won the war for democracy. In Vietnam, we had allies. In Afghanistan, we had allies. We will need allies in our next major war. But right now, we're trying to get rid of all the allies that we possibly can. So, yes, no step on neck. We know Jesus loves me. But sorry, it is a day of egg in the face. Regardless of how much Jesus loves me, he doesn't like slaughtering of the weak, of folks that are effectively prisoners of war. That's not the Jesus way that I know. Maybe we know a different Jesus. All right. Hope you have a great evening. Hopefully you still got some good ham, turkey left over. I've been eating great ham sandwiches today. It's been awesome. Leftover pecan pie. All right, y'all. Have a great evening. Love your neighbors as you love yourself, for we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. God bless your corazón.